One of NASCAR's oldest facilities and one of its most famous, Bristol Motor Speedway, is the site for tonight, the 12th round of the Challenger Cup Series in 2025, as the drivers will take to the Last Great Colosseum with just 3 races to go. In the regular season, the playoff picture is becoming clearer, but still some questions to be answered. Who wins the last 3 races before the playoffs? Who heads into the playoffs as the points leader? Who are the final few drivers that make their way into the field of 16? Tonight we begin to answer those questions as we bring you another race in the Challenger Racing League's Challenger Cup Series from Bristol Motor Speedway. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dawson Wise, and you're watching PGR eSports coverage of the Challenger Cup Series on a Tuesday night. So happy to have you with us here tonight at Bristol as we have 225 laps. The world's fastest half mile on tap here tonight. Cannot wait to get this one underway. Qualifying right now on the racing surface, as many drivers have completed their laps. We're about 60 seconds away from putting cars on the grid. Again, 3 races to go in the regular season. Tonight at Bristol, next week at New Hampshire, and in 2 weeks' time at the Kansas Speedway is all that we have left in the regular season for the Challenger Cup Series before it's time to go playoff racing, starting with the Charlotte Roval on October the 7th. We'll get into the schedule looking forward. We'll tell you about the point situation coming into tonight as we go here throughout the evening and over the course of 225 laps. A rundown of tonight's events. Again, 225 laps, the race distance. Lap 56 will be the conclusion of stage number 1, the only stage break of tonight's race. 50% fuel aboard these NASCAR Next Gen race cars, the Gen 7, I suppose they should be called now. And 4 total tire sets in the pits for these drivers. 5 total. 4 in the pits for 225 laps of racing tonight. So, drivers going to have to negotiate some tire wear, which, if you watch the Bristol night race back on Saturday night, you know that is was definitely a factor in that race. It will be a factor once again tonight as we watch and see who can conquer the Last Great Colosseum. Well, as the lights come on at Bristol, the darkness starts to kind of bring out the best of this facility, both in real life and otherwise, and we will start to put cars on the racetrack tonight at Bristol and get going for 225 laps of racing. As we always do, let's get into the starting grid for tonight's 12th round of the Challenger Cup Series at the Bristol Motor Speedway, as we will have just over 15 cars making the start tonight in the 12th round. On the pole, with a quick time of 14.707 seconds, it's going to be the 5 of Matt Hayden looking for Gateway redemption after a second place finish last week at Gateway. To his outside, it's the man who has run every kind of track except the super speedway variety. That's Ryan Patty in the 30, a 3-time winner this season already in his rookie campaign in the series. Some new colors for him tonight. The Edelbrock number 30 will roll from position number 2. Row 2, Jimmy Fitzmaurice in the 33 will roll from position number 3. On the inside of that row, to his outside, how about the qualifying effort for Brandon Beauchamp in the High Rock Chevrolet on the outside of row number 2. Needs a big run tonight. He'll hope he can get it from the outside of row 2. Row 3, Andrew Little on the inside in the 5th position, the Waterford Concepts number 68, and James Catrone in the 38 in the Oscar Mayer Chevy will line up to his outside in 6th. Row 4, GT Irizarry returns tonight in the 14. He'll go from position number 7. It's the Atlanta winner from earlier in the season, Stephen Luttrell, that will go from position number 8. Row 5, Travis Everett in the 13 machine will go from position number 9. John Velocity makes his return to the series tonight from position number 10. Row 6, Harold Rothery in the 7 will go from position number 11. To his outside, it is the winner last week and our Iowa winner from a few weeks ago. It's Harold Watkins in the 3. Row 7, it's the Daytona winner, Rusty Modesty in the 6, and alongside him, it's Steven Rasick making a start tonight in the series as well. On the final row, it's Cody Eldred in the 34 and Greg Bourbonier in the 00, the only 2 cars not to take qualifying times. So again, 225 laps on tap. We'll go 2 pace laps here at the Bristol Motor Speedway as we get you set for action from the Last Great Colosseum. Cannot wait to get this one underway and find out who's going to be next. And row 2, to me, is going to be the most interesting tonight if they're able to steal one away coming into tonight. Brandon Beauchamp 13th in the standings. Jimmy Fitzmaurice 22nd in the standings. So it'll be really interesting to see if one of those two can steal a win away from the favorites, or if it's going to be one of the guys up front. Ryan Patty's won 3 times this season. Matt Hayden yet to win in this specific season, but won last season. Andrew Little, James Catrone. You're talking about guys that have run up front all season. Can they continue to do it, or will someone steal it away from them? We're going to find out in 225 laps at Bristol. Matt Hayden brings the field off turn 4. Green flag goes in the air. We're racing from Bristol. And trouble in the back as Jimmy Fitzmaurice goes off the racing surface, comes back up and collects a few others. And the caution flag will come out for early chaos on lap number 2 as Fitzmaurice goes right to the pit lane. Let's go back and take a look. This was right about the 3rd, 4th, 5th position on the speedway as Fitzmaurice worked his way off turn 4. He's next to Harold Watkins. Car gets out from under him. He starts to roll up the hill. Watkins is on the wall, can't go any further. Fitzmaurice bounces off of him, works to the inside, noses into the inside wall. It's a big hit on the left front, and then comes back up, and some innocent bystanders on the way in. Rusty Modesty is going to be one of them. Huge hit for him. Cody Eldred is going to get a piece of this as well in the 34, as he gets both the Fitzmaurice machine and the outside retaining wall. So 3 cars involved on lap 2, the biggest of which being Fitzmaurice and Modesty, both of which get pretty severe damage out of this one. We'll take another couple looks at it here off turn number 4 and get an idea of what brought out the first caution of the night. You see Fitzmaurice working to the inside of Watkins. He gets off the left rear. It kind of catapults him down the racetrack, and nowhere for Rusty Modesty or Cody Eldred to go as Fitzmaurice comes back up the speedway and collects those 2 cars. We'll take one more look at it, and then we'll get back up front and get back to live action from Bristol Motor Speedway. Big hit there, and nowhere for Modesty to go. He hits him pretty flush on the door. Now, I think the good thing for Modesty is that he got the damage pretty much flush on the front end, so likely not much structural damage to the chassis, but damage nonetheless to Rusty Modesty's car. And he sits on the pit lane, I believe. We'll double check that. He is on pit lane. So is Jimmy Fitzmaurice at this point in time. Caution flag number 1 out on the speedway already. Just 5 laps into this 225 lapper from Bristol Motor Speedway. The freshly reskinned and rescanned, I believe, Bristol Motor Speedway. It drives differently after the latest iRacing update. It also looks different. Updated to the newest specs. This is very accurate to the real-life version of this racetrack. Got to get out there this weekend and take in all 3 National Series races. Some good racing this weekend from Bristol. Obviously, the chaos on Saturday with the tires was fun to watch. I don't think we'll have quite that much chaos tonight. Tire wear will be a factor, but it certainly is not going to be that much of a factor, I wouldn't think. Ryan Patty, Matt Hayden on the front row. Brandon Beauchamp, James Catrone on row number 2. Then it's Harold Watkins and Stephen Luttrell. Behind them, Andrew Little, GT Irizarry, Stephen Rasick, and Travis Everett on row 5. Green flag back in the air. Patty's off and running. And away we go on this first restart of the night. And away goes Ryan Patty. So any questions about his speed have been answered here in the early going. Harold Watkins was fastest in practice, but had a rough go in qualifying. Matt Hayden's having a rough go right now in the race. He just got hit from behind by James Catrone. So we'll watch back here around second as Patty checks out just a little bit, but Matt Hayden starting to get back to him in the 5 machine. Matt Hayden was second in practice, right behind the Harold Watkins machine, so not far off of the race, or of the leading pace in practice is Matt Hayden, and he's putting big-time pressure on the Edelbrock Chevrolet of Ryan Patty here early in the going. Everybody running the bottom. I'm a little bit surprised nobody's moved around to find grip quite yet. At least not here in the front of the field. And a dive to the inside for the lead is going to force Ryan Patty to run up there in the 30 as Hayden gets underneath, gets alongside. Patty gets a little good drive off the corner. He's pinching Hayden down to the yellow. He can't fully exit the corner, and he's going to maintain the lead for now. Hayden will have to jump in line. So Matt Hayden hangs in second. Meanwhile, the battle for third is about to be on, as Brandon Beauchamp has caught James Catrone for that position. Brandon Beauchamp, again, I said needs a good run. I may have overestimated just a little bit tonight. Came into this race 13th in points, 43 points above where the cut line currently sits. And in fact, the cut line may actually be lower than that. It's going to be really interesting to figure out. In terms of series participation, with 15 regular season races, I think it was determined you had to be in 66% to be playoff eligible, which would mean Ryan Patty would not meet that, I don't think. No, he'd be 8 of 15 if he raced 14, including tonight. Velocity would be close at 9 of 14, so it could be very interesting to see how the powers that be handle that, because that's where the cut line is. A lot of guys that have made 5 or 6 starts currently in playoff positions, so we'll have to kind of wait and see how the cut line pans out over the next several weeks. Matt Hayden continues to put pressure on the leader, Patty, as Harold Watkins puts pressure on James Catrone and Brandon Beauchamp for the third and fourth positions respectively. Watkins is the biggest mover, +7. Greg Bourbonnier is +6. Jimmy Fitzmaurice has not called it a night, but he is 4 laps down in 16th. Rusty Modesty is still on the lead lap in 15th position. So everybody's still out there. One car is several laps down. We continue to work lap 21. Again, 56 is the conclusion of the stage, and Ryan Patty has begun to check out on Matt Hayden just a tad. So let's go back here. And the battle for the third position right now. James Catrone's +3 on the night, but he's getting chased here by Brandon Beauchamp, and eventually Harold Watkins, and actually a couple of others have joined the party. Irizarry, Luttrell, and Little have all driven to the back bumper of the car in front of them, as James Catrone tries to hold off all comers. Catrone coming into tonight, in terms of his point standing, is out back. Watkins makes the pass for fourth. Coming into tonight, James Catrone was 9th in the standings, 10 points back of the 8th position, excuse me, which is currently occupied by Garrett Caswell. 22 points back of the 7th position occupied by Travis Everett. 23 points back as there's a pass for third on Catrone by Watkins. He's 23 points back of Irizarry and Matt Hayden for the tie for 5th in the points, and 24 back of Rusty Modesty in 4th. So Catrone with a good run tonight could put it in that, but he is getting passed, going the wrong way now as Irizarry leans to the inside. As Ryan Patty continues to drive away, the lights fire up here at Bristol, now completely into the nighttime in the mountains of East Tennessee. Good battle continuing on here for the 4th position. Irizarry finally going to have his way off turn 4. He will get the position. Luttrell has to back out as Catrone tries to grab a spot in line. Andrew Little's going to take advantage, but not for long. Luttrell able to hold him off, jump back in line. Luttrell +2 on the night, up to the 6th position for the Atlanta Motor Speedway winner so far in this one. A good run already for Luttrell. I know he's got fans out there. He's running really well so far. He's going to have some challenge from out back, though. Travis Everett has found some speed. This is not surprising. Back in Season 1 of this year, Travis Everett had what likely was the car to win Bristol. He very much had the speed, but the strategy did not work out in his favor. Harold Watkins was able to leapfrog and get the victory. But Travis Everett is slowly working his way through the field, displaying some of that speed we saw in Season 1 on the inside of Catrone, now for 5th. And up here we got a battle for 2nd we're going to look at here really quickly as Harold Watkins has caught Matt Hayden. And Hayden will not put up much of a fight. Move Watkins to 2nd, move Hayden to 3rd. Meanwhile, back here, this battle continues between Travis Everett, James Catrone, and Stephen Luttrell. Everett drives on by, so move Everett to the 5th position. As Catrone and Luttrell battle, Luttrell slides out of line. Great save there by Stephen Luttrell. He'll drop to the 10th position, right in front of Greg Bourbonnier, but could have been a lot worse for the driver of the 36. Keeping an eye on James Catrone as he continues to backslide through the field, this for 6th. As if you watch the ticker on the left side of your screen, Harold Watkins is starting to run down Ryan Patty. Watkins good here at Bristol as well. Trying to see if he can make some moves to get up into this one. "37 laps complete at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and Ryan Patty continues to lead the way, but he is quickly being run down by Harold Watkins in the 3. He is ticked at under 1 second of a gap on the Patty machine, and as soon as I go up here and look, Watkins starts to lose ground, but he continues to chip away at the gap between himself and Ryan Patty. Now just 16, make it 17 to go in Stage 1. As these laps are getting ticked off quickly, for reference, leaders right now are still running 15.5-second laps. We've also had 7/10 of fall off in the first 40. Assuming you take a set here at the stage, hold that thought, as Andrew Little and James Catrone crash with 15 to go in Stage 1, and will halt everything. This was that continuing battle for the 6th position. Travis Everett had just gotten by. Andrew Little was trying to take his shot and rolled up the hill. He's about a lane off the bottom, gets into Catrone, turns him sideways, and it's going to actually loop the 38 around completely. Andrew Little gets involved in this too, but Catrone, I think, is going to get the worst of it. There's a hit to the wall right there. Little's got it completely locked down. He keeps it off the wall, so could have been a lot worse there for Andrew Little. For Catrone, it is still a hit to the inside wall. See, light hit to the barrier right there on the inside. Take one more look at it. Kind of back this up to where this started. Can't really see where it started, but nonetheless, you see Catrone go around. He's going to get the inside wall right there. Little is able to keep it off the inside wall and continue on. So there will be just about 12, make it 11 most likely laps to go here at Bristol when we get back underway in Stage 1. I was wondering why it was saying certain guys were crashing here under caution. I think it's just because they're going off the track. Not sure what was going on there. Under the second caution flag of the night, it'll be a short sprint to the end of stage 1. Ryan Patty elects the outside lane. He'll start to the outside of Harold Watkins. It'll be Matt Aiden and GT Irizarry on row 2. Travis Everett, Brandon Beauchamp on row 3. John Velocity, Stephen Luttrell, 7th and 8th, with Greg Burbanier 9th and Harold Rothery in 10th. Does Watkins have anything for Ryan Patty here on an 11-lap run to the stage break? We'll go right back under caution. It's going to hit my first, and hopefully only ad break of the night right there, but with the stage coming up, we'll halt it until then. Ryan Patty gets a good jump. We're back into the green flag. 11 laps to go in stage 1, and Irizarry's going to try to jump around Harold Watkins for second. As the field works off turn 2, he will not get that spot now. Watkins has to set sail. Try to get up to Ryan Patty if he can. Matt Hayden underneath Irizarry for third. Travis Everett, that brought him back into the proceedings here at the front. Matt Hayden is able to close the door on GT Irizarry for now. Everett going to go to work on his teammate for the 4th position. As Watkins tries everything he can to run down Ryan Patty. Still half a second behind him here with just 9 laps to go in stage number 1. Out back, Brandon Beauchamp under fire from Stephen Luttrell. Matt Aiden under fire from Irizarry under fire from Everett. It's Travis Everett again. We talked about the speed he had at Bristol back in the spring. He was very, very good here. And just kind of got out-strategized by Harold Watkins. Watkins captured one of his 5 wins on the year. So Everett had the car, just didn't have the strategy. Tonight, already inside the top 5 trying to make hay. As these guys continue to battle for the 3rd position. Watkins has seen the gap plateau. Has not really been able to get very close at all to the back bumper of Ryan Patty. Ooh, almost some contact back there for 6th between Luttrell and Beauchamp. And Beauchamp is actually going to go the wrong way in a hurry. He's going to lose a spot to Velocity as well and drop back to 8th. Back up here, battle for 3rd continuing. Hayden trying to hold off GT Irizarry. Coming into tonight, the next closest driver in the points to Harold Watkins is Andrew Little, that's actually continuing to run. We heard about Christian Strader not being full-time the rest of the season. So if you consider that, 42 points separate Harold Watkins from Andrew Little. Oh, trouble! Matt Hayden's around on the bumper of GT Irizarry. That's going to bring the caution out, and that will likely end the stage as well. As Matt Hayden gets turned off the bumper of GT Irizarry, and the caution flag's out for the 3rd time. Man, this was right off turn 4. I mean, we were watching this as it happened. Hayden gets the wall, spins it back to the right, and Irizarry gives him a little bit of help. And around went Hayden into the outside wall. Who's able to get it back going? Be able to see it right here. Hayden a little loose off the corner, gets the wall, overcorrects, and nowhere really nothing Irizarry could have done differently there. Except run to the back of Matt Hayden and spin him sideways. Well, that likely does it for the stage, as Ryan Patty will get credited for the points, I would assume, in this first stage. Patty, Watkins, Irizarry, Everett, and then likely Andrew Little would have been your top 5. Maybe Stephen Luttrell or Brandon Beauchamp are your top 5. Stage 1 complete. Andrew Little and Rusty Modesty have stayed on the racetrack to inherit positions number 1 and 2. We are going to hit our first and hopefully only break of the night here at the end of stage number 1. The conclusion from Bristol Motor Speedway coming up right after this. We're going to go PGR nonstop so you don't miss a thing. Stay with us. We'll be right back from Thunder Valley.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3x3.
Almost trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Stage 2, the final stage of the evening, about to get underway. 166 laps to go. From Bristol Motor Speedway, Andrew Little and Rusty Modesty staying out under the caution. As a result of them inheriting the lead, green flag back in the air. Little's off to the races. Modesty was slower to it. He's going to hold up Watkins. Patty's able to get going cleanly. So is Travis Everett. And those two are going to inherit second and third. Watkins will try to go to fourth here in this fourth corner. Unable to get the spot, though, and Harold Watkins is trapped. 165 laps to go. You might think a while, but then again, we're running 15-second laps, so likely not that long left in this race time-wise. Ryan Patty has caught Andrew Little. He's going to cross over, but he's going to be patient. Ryan Patty, the first one to really try that outside groove. And, gets the wall, trying to race Andrew Little just a little bit. They'll continue on side by side. But Ryan Patty gets the spot and drives forward the race lead. So 161 to go, 160 to go next time by. And they will tick off relatively quickly over the course of the next little bit. First battle that we want to highlight is for third. How about the speed out of Stephen Luttrell all of a sudden here tonight at Bristol? He's got a little bit of pace underneath the HMR Ford Mustang Dark Horse as he chases Everett for the third position. They both start to chase down Andrew Little for second. John Velocity has made his way up here, and he is in the 6th spot. Then it's Irizarry. Then it's Cody Eldred for the first time tonight in the top 10. He's in 8th. And then Bourbonier, and then you'll find Rusty Modesty. Stayed out for the track position. Has dropped all the way to 11th now. Actually loses a spot to Catrone for 10th. So back to 11th for Rusty Modesty. This is getting to be a bit of a war, and they're actually about to drag Andrew Little into this as well as they run him down. They're running him down, and actually Andrew Little is steadily running Ryan Patty down. Now, whether or not that's by design by the race leader is a different story. Travis Everett's actually running the best laps on the speedway right now. 15.42 to the leaders, 14 or excuse me, a 15.42 to the leaders 15.55. That time a 15.40 to the leaders 15.58 for Travis Everett, who we continue to follow here on the racetrack. They've caught Ryan Patty, and Everett's going to have to try to avoid the air, make a pass on Andrew Little. Little jumps to the high side. Everett going to try to make the pass on the bottom. Will drive up alongside Andrew Little, but can he complete the pass? Not quite. He gets up alongside him. He's going to run dead even with him here down the front straightaway and into turn 1. Next time by 150 laps to go, and Everett makes the pass. And now here we go. Travis Everett, you could argue, should have won the Bristol race in Season 1 of this calendar year. Now chases Ryan Patty for the race lead on lap 76 here tonight at Bristol. Watkins to the outside of Luttrell. That is for third. Irizarry's drawn into this battle. John Velocity is not far behind. Watkins going to try to make it 2 for 1. Runs out of real estate on the outside of Andrew Little. Going to get in there a little bit hot. Get in the back of the 68. Got in the back of him again. Tries to go to the outside. We've seen Watkins like to maneuver the outside lane to make passes. He does so again right there. And meanwhile, Irizarry makes the pass on Luttrell for 5th. Now looks on Andrew Little for 4th. And Patty has hit the go button. He's driven away by 4/10 to what he was just a moment ago. And caution right here on the front stretch. There was somebody out of shape and around. And it was Steven Rasick in the 21. And it's a self-spin. Gets out of shape. Clobbers the inside wall. And draws the caution flag. Trying to back up onto the speedway. I think that would have won that. Excuse me. That one would have been held if it weren't for coming back on the racetrack, backing up in front of cars. I think that's why this one ultimately gets thrown. But you see right here, just loses grip. Slides to the inside. You can kind of tell at Bristol pretty quick the angle and the speed at which you're approaching the wall. Whether or not they're going to hit it very hard, you could tell pretty immediately Rasick was going to clobber. So Steven Rasick gets around. We'll take one more look. We'll go back up front. Not that one because we can't see anything. We'll go back on the blimp cam. You'll see not really any contact with the wall. Just snaps loose on him, and these cars nearly impossible to drive out of a slide. Rasick gets down to the inside wall, comes to a stop. Then right here he backs up on track, and that's where the caution was thrown. 4th caution of the night. Ryan Patty leads. 144 laps to go at Bristol. We are 40 laps away from halfway home. Actually, 30 laps away from that. Apologies. Math is failing me so far tonight. I want to thank you again for your attendance tonight. Let's tell you where we go from here. Next week, we'll head to Loudon, New Hampshire for 151 laps at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile, for the penultimate race of the regular season. From there, we head on to the Kansas Speedway for 120 laps and what should be a high-speed thriller to end the regular season. There we will go playoff racing. If we get another caution, we'll talk about where the playoffs will take us, kind of how this format's going to look later on in the calendar year as well. Ryan Patty and GT Irizarry will line up on row 1. Then it's Cody Eldred and Stephen Luttrell on row 2. Greg Bourbonier, Harold Rothery on row 3. Then it's Travis Everett, Harold Watkins, 7th and 8th. John Velocity and Andrew Little, 9th and 10th. Ryan Patty, GT Irizarry opting to stay out with about 4 cars behind them. Everybody else coming down pit road, opting for service under this 4th caution. Green flag in the air. Away goes the field towards turn 1. Watkins has the most clean track of any of the guys on presumably new tires, at least that came down and made a pit stop. Patty's going to be able to build a pretty big lead until then. GT Irizarry will chase him from second. I just don't know if he has the raw speed to keep up. So far, so good for him, though. He's actually managing this gap. 140 laps to go at the line. 86 up on the board. And Irizarry's going to put some pressure on here. Trying to make something happen on the Ryan Patty machine. Meanwhile, Watkins out back looks for fifth on Harold Rothery. He might get that spot here off turn 4. Not quite. Rothery hangs on to it in turn 1. Rothery got the fence. Watkins got on by, so Watkins up to the 5th position. Everett, meanwhile, still logged back in 10th. Eldred, Luttrell, Watkins, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Bourbonier, 6th. Actually just got passed for that spot by Rusty Modesty on the return trail. Stephen Rasick 1 lap down. By the way, Jimmy Fitzmaurice clawed back to 2 laps down after his crash earlier in the race. As Ryan Patty continues to lead the way. Out back pass for 3rd. That was Luttrell. Watkins going to try to come with him. On the inside, can he get the spot going in the corner? Not quite. He's clear by a nose. Now he's clear, and he will get to 3rd or 4th. Luttrell hounded by Watkins. Modesty on the move here, up to 5th around Eldred. So Modesty maybe the car to watch here. He's got some mid-run pace. He's on new tires as well. Watkins going to get to the outside of Luttrell. This is for 3rd. And it'd be a pretty easy pass, all things considered. Watkins is on by. Modesty will try to follow him now. And on they go to 3rd and 4th. Oh boy, almost a big moment there for Modesty. He will continue to battle with Luttrell for that 4th position as he almost got loose there off of turn 4 last time. Gets it under control. Out of back here for 9th, Travis Everett and Matt Hayden. Two pretty well even cars, but logged back in the field due to some issues, whether on the restart or a pit stop or on the actual racetrack. Hayden cedes the spot to Everett. As up here, pass for 2nd. Harold Watkins around the around the Irizarry machine, and he will retake 2nd. Next time by 125 laps to go at Bristol. And Harold Watkins is back to the 2nd position with another opportunity now to run down Ryan Patty. About 10 laps away already from the halfway point at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Ryan Patty's led most of the opening 102. But Harold Watkins is not letting him get off the hook easily as he continues to try to keep the pressure on the 3-time winner. Watkins, a 2-time winner. He won last week at Gateway, won back at Iowa. Wants to add a 3rd unique short track oval to his resume here in 2025. At least in Season 2 of 2025. Combine that with the 5 wins he got in Season 1. We'll continue to watch the battle for the lead as this race kind of enters a bit of a lull for now, for the moment. There is the gap between the leaders, about 4 car lengths, separating Ryan Patty from Harold Watkins. As it'll be 119 laps to go at Bristol. They're about 6 laps short of halfway. Next time by 115 laps to go. And again, kind of entered a lull in this race. You look over on the left side of your screen. There's really no battles on the speedway right now. The closest is about to be for 5th. But really, it's not even a battle at this point yet either. Watkins has maintained the same gap between he and the leader Ryan Patty for the last 10 laps. Halfway, this time by Harold Rothery will go 1 lap down, so Steven Rasick is now racing another car for the Lucky Dog spot. As Rothery goes his first lap down. Ryan Patty's doing that thing again where he gets out front and does not let the lead go away. And obviously it's preventing me from having much to talk about on this race because he has just been out front basically the whole time. While we have a lull before the pit stop cycle here in the middle of the race, let's go through the playoff schedule. We told you the next 2 weeks, New Hampshire and Kansas will end the regular season. We'll begin the playoffs on Tuesday, October the 7th with a trip to the Charlotte Roval with a 44-lap event from the Charlotte Roval that will open the postseason. It'll be Las Vegas. It'll be the second and final race of the round of 16. The round of 8, also 2 races long. We'll take to the High Banks, the virtual Talladega Super Speedway on October the 21st. Then October 28th, we'll head to the Paperclip Martinsville Raceway for the final race of the round of 8. The Championship 4 in Season 2 will take place at Phoenix on November the 4th. The week after that, November the 11th, we'll have what I'm calling the Challenger 2025 Grand Championship, where both the Final 4 from Season 1 and Season 2, unless there are overlaps, will go at it at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway for a chance at 2025 Challenger Cup Series glory. So Ryan Patty continuing to lead. And so far, so good from him as we close in on under 100 laps to go. Steven Rasick is going to go a second lap down. My colleague Austin Green in the chat chimes in, says, "Is this going better than PGR Light last night?" Well, if you got to watch that race with Mike, it did not go well for myself personally. 150 laps at Bristol right here in the Gen 4 cars. I think I made it about 53. Then my night was over. And it was about as chaotic as a Bristol race can get. So far, so good for me. Now, I can't speak for Cameron Craighead won that race last night, so I can't speak for him, I suppose, but I can speak for me when I say that that was not fun to be out on the racetrack. But it has been fun to race with those guys. Last week, obviously, in the ARCA Car at Talladega, managed to get the victory. Locked myself into the playoffs, which means I now have to basically race the rest of the regular season to be eligible. And last night, I was Gen 4 cars at Bristol, and it was interesting, to say the absolute least. Great run ongoing for Stephen Luttrell. He continues to run inside the top 4 in the 4th position. So far, so good for the Atlanta winner. Coming into tonight, granted, he's locked in, obviously, by virtue of his win at Atlanta. He was 11th in the points, but only 3 points behind Cody Eldred, who currently runs in the 10th spot. He was only 14 points behind James Catrone, who runs back in 12th right now, so could put a dent in that as well if he manages to finish where he runs right now. He's only 24 back of Garrett Caswell, who did not start tonight, and only 36 back of Travis Everett, who runs 2 spots behind him in 6th. So Luttrell could have really used a good run tonight, and he's got a lot of speed underneath the hood of that 36. He's now under fire, though. It's one of the first battles we've seen in a bit, as Andrew Little's going to go by on the outside, so he's now back to 5th, chased now by Everett, Velocity, and Modesty for the next 3 spots. With a pit stop cycle likely coming up. Oh, Andrew Little missed the corner, almost gave the spot right back. Instead, we're going to keep it here because Everett is putting the pressure on Luttrell now. With 89 laps to go, Ryan Patty across the line, already inside of 90 laps to go. We may be staring down the barrel of a one-stop race on strategy. We'll have to wait and see. We could very well be staring down the barrel of a one pit stop strategy here. Patty continues to lead. You're watching the battle for now 6th. As Velocity is alongside Stephen Luttrell for that position. Luttrell settles into 7th, right in front of Rusty Modesty. Then he's got a bit of a buffer back to Matt Hayden, who is on the comeback trail. Started tonight on pole and has not been the night that he wanted after the crash earlier in the race. He runs 9th right now. Battle starting to form here for the 5th spot. Everett and Velocity. And it's not really materialized into a battle quite yet. Just 83 to go. Harold Rothery now 5 laps down. I believe might have called it a night. Nope, still out there, but 3 laps down. Jimmy Fitzmaurice is 3 laps down in 15th, and then Steven Rasick is 14th, 2 laps down. Next up, Bourbonier, and in fact, he's about to get lapped, so he'll be the next car, 1 lap down. Catrone is not far behind him, which is interesting. Catrone started up front, ran 3rd, and is all the way back in 12th, way off the pace. About to get lapped. Patty continues to lead inside of 80 laps to go now, and he is driving away. And pit stops are beginning. Andrew Little, the first to drive off the racetrack, come to pit road. And off we go on the pit stop cycle from Bristol as Andrew Little's the first to cede his position. Stephen Luttrell is also on pit road, and so too now is Greg Bourbonier. We'll await now the leaders to come down pit road with 77 laps to go. This might very well be the only pit stop of the night. You got to nail it. Catrone's going to go 1 lap down. Rusty Modesty's on pit road. Cody Eldred's on pit road. Greg Bourbonier is on pit road. Patty continues to stay out. See how long he goes. See how long Watkins goes. I think Watkins has jumped to the pit lane. Modesty is on pit road. Beauchamp is on pit road. So Watkins, the first really of the lead cars to pit here, other than Luttrell. So he will cede his position. GT Raziri is going to come to pit road here. Going to be interesting to see how much the fall off is because Ryan Patty waited an extra lap and a half, maybe 2, to bring his car to pit road. We'll have to see if that pays any dividends for him. So we'll see. Ryan Patty leading the race. This is a crawl onto pit road for him. I feel like the other guys went a little bit faster than this. I could be wrong. Patty Raziri on pit road. Harold Watkins still in his box. And to me, the fact he's just sitting there, and we've had a spinner somewhere on the racetrack. I heard that. The fact he's still sitting in his box tells me Harold Watkins has received a pit road penalty here, and that would be deeply costly to the man who came in the points leader, but he sat a very long time on pit road and will come out 1 lap down. Boy. He did have a big buffer, 42 points on Andrew Little, so I don't think it will jeopardize the points lead. Definitely at least makes things tough for him to get back out in this one without a caution flag. 68 to go for the leader, Travis Everett at the line. He has yet to come to pit road. John Velocity, Matt Hayden, and James Catrone, the cars that will run long. They've got everyone 2 laps down. They will also have about 10 to 15 lap fresher tires when they come to pit road. Want to see if that pays any dividends. In about 40 laps on the opening run towards stage 1, we saw about a 7/10 fall off in 40 laps. We could see 3 to 3.5. They go longer. We could see a 4/10 difference in lap times. And those guys wouldn't have to save as much. It won't be going as far. As far as they can stretch this here, it's going to be really interesting to see when these guys decide to come down pit road, put tires on, and try to chase back down the guys that are currently running better lap times than them. I mean, Ryan Patty, for instance, Last lap for Everett, a 15.90. Last lap for Patty was a 15 flat. A little bit better that time for Everett, 15.78, but a 15.04 for Ryan Patty. So Everett is technically losing time doing this, but his hope is that he'll come out with fresh enough tires to run down the Ryan Patty machine once he comes off pit road. And here comes Everett. He will cede the lead on lap 162 and bring his Black Rifle Ford Mustang to the pit lane. Leaving the field in the hands of the Field Fest Chevrolet of John Velocity. Matt Hayden's going to do the same. He'll come to pit road. And now the field just awaits John Velocity and James Catrone as the last two cars to make pit stops. Velocity stretching this about as far as he can. Trying to make this thing interesting on the 30 of Ryan Patty. Again, these two cars have not pit by the line. 61 laps to go for John Velocity, and he continues to lead the way, but we do know he has to pit between now and the end of the race. Oh, trouble! Around goes Cody Eldred. And that may draw the caution flag, and it will. And just when it looked like this race was going to green flag cycle, now not so much. As Cody Eldred got around right behind the leader and went for a slide on the exit of turn 4. Does he just self-spin it? Yep. Corrects, comes back up. And coming back on the racetrack in the racing groove that's going to draw the caution every time. And Cody Eldred goes for a spin. We're going to watch one more quick angle. We're actually going to come back and take one more commercial break on the evening before we get to conclude this one from Bristol. Eldred goes for a spin. Caution flag out for the 5th time tonight. So Velocity and Catrone will have to inherit the lead. It actually may have worked out, considering I think the whole field is going to be caught one lap down here. And this just got actually, we're going to keep it here. I was going to go to a break, but I did not realize that the entire field is going to get caught here, because Velocity and Catrone had trapped them not one but 2 laps down. And that caution fell at the worst time for everyone not named Velocity or Catrone. So Patty and company, they all come off pit road, and they're only going to be, well, Patty has actually scored 2 laps behind. Matt Hayden is also 2 laps behind. Eldred, Watkins, Rothery are 3 laps down. Racing and Beauchamp 4, then Fitzmaurice 5, and Bourbonier is 6. Here are the guys 1 lap down that will be stuck 1 lap down when we go back green. Andrew Little, Rusty Modesty, GT Irizarry, Stephen Luttrell, and Travis Everett. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 cars on the lead lap. John Velocity and James Catrone. Here is the other wrinkle. John Velocity coming into tonight was 17th in the points. Had made 6 starts. This would be number 7. He will make 9 total starts if he makes both of the next 2 races. The league vote was 66% race participation to be playoff eligible. I don't think that a win would vault John Velocity into the playoffs tonight. at this point, Nick Seipel, by not starting tonight's race, has been eliminated. Steven Rasick is not eligible. He's 18th. Mike Martino not racing tonight. He is 19th. Hunter Carlson and a couple of others. There's just not enough guys with starts, which leaves just 15 guys playoff eligible. Actually, 14 guys playoff eligible. Green flag. This is going to be the interesting part for Ryan Patty, is if he can get at least back to one lap down and potentially work a miracle here, but it may have been taken out of his hands by something he literally cannot control. And John Velocity is going to try to drive into the sunset and hope that caution flags don't start hampering what may very well be one of the easiest, and it's not an offense to James Catrone at all, but maybe one of the easiest wins of his career. Again, to clarify, look on the left side of your screen. This battle is not for the lead. Ryan Patty is trying to work his way back to one lap down, potentially get a wave around, or a lucky dog if he can drive all the way around the racetrack past some other cars and have a miracle fall into his lap. But with only 50 to go, he'd need several cautions to get him back on the lead lap, and they'd have to probably start right now. There might have been one. I'm seeing some things that Rusty Modesty has crashed. Must have just gone on the apron. He's still very much going straight. We're getting down to it. 46 to go at the line. Rusty Modesty's gone a second lap down. Luttrell's gone a second lap down. What happened to those guys? Were they already 2 laps down? There were definitely more cars only 1 lap down that are now 2 laps down. At the line, it's 45 to go for Velocity, and I mean, he is cruising. Now again, this is not over. There's still 45 laps we have to race, and cautions tend to breed cautions here at Bristol and could bring cars back into this one. I think the one I'm watching is Travis Everett. I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to get up and get by Andrew Little for the lucky dog, because I think he would be the biggest competition to John Velocity in terms of speed at Bristol, although Little is not a slouch either. So I think either of these cars, if they were to get a caution, even Irizarry would be able to win this race if they just got a caution that benefited them. But man, with only 42 to go, the laps are ticking away and ticking away quickly. So Velocity continuing to lead. It is 40 laps to go in Bristol. This one's going to be over in the next 10 minutes unless there's some caution flags between now and then. And this race, man, I mean, you could say Ryan Patty probably deserved to win. I would put Harold Watkins in that conversation. You could put Everett, Irizarry, Little kind of in that secondary conversation. Velocity, not to say he'd run bad, but was running about 6th or 7th and just had decided to run long. And in fact, Travis Everett was about 2 laps after pitting when that caution came out. If he stays out an extra 2 laps, perhaps he's the leader right now. It just happened to work out, but not for long. Caution flag. And it is for Greg Bourbonier over here on the front stretch, as he has gotten around and drawn the caution that will bring at least one car back into this race. Urbaneer running by himself. He was multiple laps down, comes off turn 4, loses it, gets a piece of Harold Watkins, and stops, which is why the caution flag is thrown. And, oh man, Stephen Rasick may have gotten a piece of this as well. Does look like he did get a piece of it on the right front, so Stephen Rasick gets involved in it also. Now we're going to go pretty quick. I do want to hit the brake that we had anticipated last caution really quickly. Went off turn 4. You see Urbaneer get out of shape, get on the wall, and this is why the caution comes out. He stops. And then gets going. That's why the caution flag is thrown. So one car going to be back on the lead lap. It's Andrew Little that receives the lucky dog here with 35 laps to go. With Velocity staying out, it will trap everyone else one or more laps down. We're going to do now, we're going to hit another quick commercial break. And we'll be right back for the conclusion. 35 to go at Bristol. Velocity leads a chaotic one that's taking a crazy turn. After the green flag pit stop cycle, we'll be right back from Bristol. You won't miss a thing. We're going to go PGR nonstop. We'll be right back for more from Bristol. It's the Challenger Cup Series, round number 12.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got the monkey has prime! This season, we are hydrated!
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive.
Welcome back to Bristol. 33 to go. James Catrone notably took tires on this restart. He's going to have fresher rubber than the leader, Velocity. Green flag going to go in the air, and away we go with 33 to go from Bristol. Again, Ryan Patty is not on the lead lap. Ryan Patty is still 2 laps down. He still needs a monster amount of help in the form of about 4 more cautions before he can get back on the lead lap. Travis Everett is also still 1 lap down. So is GT Irizarry. Now, Andrew Little is back on the lead lap, but he had to start at the tail end by being the lucky dog car, so he had to start towards the tail end of the field. He's 2 seconds back of the leaders. Trouble around goes Matt Hayden. The 5 car's gone sideways. He hits the inside wall. The caution is not out. We're still under green. He's going to keep it on the racing surface. No harm, no foul. Green flag still in the air. Catrone trying everything in his power on fresh rubber to run down John Velocity, who is, I hate to say lucked into it, but just was in the right place, the right time to be able to lead this race with inside of 30 laps to go. 29 at the line, but Catrone is hanging strong. Trying everything he can to get to the back bumper of Velocity for Catrone's first win in the calendar year of 2025. Inside of 3/10 is the gap off turn 4. 28 laps to go. We're setting up for another classic under the lights of the Last Great Colosseum. Velocity versus Catrone in Bristol. 2/10 separate the leaders. Catrone making hay. 1.5 car lengths. Making 1 off turn 4. Here comes James Catrone. Looking for the win. Trying to beat Velocity, who I would think believes he's racing for his playoff life. We've determined he likely would not be eligible, although it would be very interesting. Contact. Velocity gets hit. Irizarry almost goes sideways behind them in 4th. Catrone got a big run off the corner. Got in the back of Velocity. Now going to try to cross underneath for the lead. No. Made the move a little too late. Had to back out of the throttle. Has to back off and try again. Here he comes again. Another cross to the inside. Another block by Velocity. Catrone uses the bumper. Nudges him up the speedway. 2x2 down the backstretch. Catrone, does he clear him? He does. Now he's got to get out of range, so Velocity can't pay it back to him. 24 to go for James Catrone. And now, if you're the Oscar Mayer Chevy, you're hoping this thing just holds up clean until the end. 24 to go, and he's driving away. Battle for the lucky dog, by the way, is Everett and Irizarry right now. Travis Everett holds that position with 23 to go, but not for long. Irizarry got to the inside of him. That's back here around that Ryan Patty machine. As Irizarry continues to try to pull away to get that lucky dog if another caution were to come out. 22 to go. James Catrone, for now, continues to lead the way in Bristol. 21 to go at the line. There is a car up ahead in the form of Matt Hayden that will make this interesting. Catrone just hoping he stays predictable, stays on the middle, but Hayden is a little late to move out of the way, and that brings Velocity back into it. It was a miscommunication, I think. Or maybe Catrone was going to go to the inside, then maybe Hayden was going to go to the inside. I just think they got kind of crisscrossed there. And Catrone has to recenter. 19 laps to go. Velocity still chasing. 4/10 is the gap. Make it 3/10 here in turn 2. And Velocity's making a late race charge. Remember, Catrone used the bumper to get the race lead. You would think Velocity would be willing to give it back. 2.5 tenths. The lead is fading. It's 2.5 car lengths. Down to 2, down to 1.5. Really good corner there for Catrone. 17 more. Around Bristol, the battle for the win continues. James Catrone of the Oscar Mayer Chevrolet. John Velocity in the Fuel Fest Chevrolet will duel for the win and see who lifts the Gladiator sword in victory lane. Catrone continues to run pretty good lap times. Just plateauing the gap for now, but he's trying to just maintain his line, be predictable, save his tires where he can. Off turn 4, he slides just a little bit, and that brings Velocity into it. Now it's a car length. Velocity's there. Now, the good thing for Catrone is he'd been running good lap times compared to Velocity, who is on older tires. Velocity's there, but he's on about 15 to 20 lap older tires than Catrone is. In fact, they might be older than that, comparatively. Modesty and Irizarry are in this, but they're not racing for the win. Irizarry trying to get his lap back the hard way, which would bring Travis Everett back onto the lead lap by virtue of a lucky dog if a caution were to come out. Catrone goes back to running the middle. Velocity tried to hit him, and he crashes. John Velocity goes sideways, hits the outside wall, and his race will end likely in a shower of sparks. Unfathomable for John Velocity. He was chasing James Catrone. He had led this race with 40 laps to go and had gotten back to the 38, and just the way he made contact with the back bumper sent him for a spin. Forced him into the outside wall. Let's go take a couple looks at this before we get ready for an extreme late race restart. Again, he got to the back bumper, and just the way he hit knocked his car out of shape. Man, GT Irizarry does a really great job avoiding that. In the 14, so Velocity goes sideways. Take a look at one more angle here. We'll get ready to go back up front. Ooh. It was just the way the contact was made. I'm not sure it was anything super egregious. I think he was just going to kind of give back what Catrone gave to him. And just didn't really work out for him. We'll take one more look at it here. See if the static camera gives us a decent angle. I'm not sure if it will. Actually it does. The contact and then Down goes Velocity, and boy, cars scramble trying to get by that. John Velocity will fix the damage on pit road. So, that leaves us with now 4 cars on the lead lap. Andrew Little has gotten up to the race lead by virtue of James Catrone coming to the pit lane, which, boy, that's an interesting decision. Leading the race with 10 laps to go, he comes to pit road. Now he'll be second on, again, what I would likely assume is new tires. I would think he would have come down to take another set of Goodyears. John Velocity has a fresh car. He's on new Goodyears. So all of a sudden, this becomes a 3-car race. GT Irizarry's the car that gets the lucky dog. Now, he'll have to start at the tail end of the longest line, but so he'll likely be a non-factor unless we get another caution. That would bring Rusty Modesty back on the lead lap, or Ryan Patty, or Travis Everett, but again, we need another caution, and then even then, I think they're just going to be non-factors again to start the back. Andrew Little leads over James Catrone. Who's going to get the win at Bristol? Green flag back in the air, and off they go towards turn 1. Into turn 1, the battle is for second as Little starts to drive away. Catrone and Velocity trying to sort it between each other. They will here into 3. Catrone now on the chase. Little is driving away, and the battle continues to be for second between those 2 cars out back of Andrew Little as Little is pulling away. Velocity is by Catrone. That is for second. Can he get to Andrew Little in time? Off turn 4. 6 laps remain at Bristol Motor Speedway. Bolt not really going very far forward. They're just not gaining enough. Little is running really good short lap times here on a short run situation. 5 laps to go. Off turn 4 now, it's 4 laps to go, and Velocity and Catrone gained a little bit there. Will they get close enough? 4 tenths with 4 laps to go. They got to start getting a little bit more than that. They've been really good over here off turn 4. That time another 10th. 3 laps to go. If Velocity gets there, is he willing to use the bumper? Down the back stretch. When they come off turn 4, Popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go. Catrone goes sideways. He's going to slide. There's not a caution flag yet. Now there is. Caution with a lap and a half to go. Hold that thought. And it's going to be very interesting to see who got the lucky dog. Again, I don't think it'll matter on a green-white checkered, but it could be very interesting here on a restart. So let's regroup, take a breath. John Velocity was very close to catching Andrew Little right there, but we got to introduce a new factor into this, and that is that GT Irizarry and James Catrone, who just spun, are now back in this, and Rusty Modesty is actually going to be the car that gets the lucky dog. We'll take a quick look at the Catrone incident. I think it was just a spin, so we'll just take a quick look at it. Does he come back out on track? Man, he was backwards, but he was off the racing surface, so really interesting there. But you'd imagine he's back in it. Rusty Modesty is going to have to start the tail end of the lead lap, so going to likely be a non-factor. The car, interesting to me now, is Irizarry. I think he's going to be on the freshest tires of these guys up front. And also may have the best raw pace of all of these guys up front. So now you introduce GT Irizarry to the party. You will not introduce Rusty Modesty. Let's start at the tail end, but James Catrone will likely be up here. So all of a sudden a new player in this, and so we'll get the 1-to-go signal. Andrew Little on the inside. John Velocity on the outside. As we get ready to go under the green flag. Or potentially the final time tonight. This is a green-white checkered. It's been a while, I feel like, since we've had a green-white checkered attempt in this series, especially on a non-plate track. But tonight we will have one. Andrew Little, John Velocity, GT Irizarry, the 3 cars up here to watch. Catrone starting back further in the field. So is Rusty Modesty. They'll be non-factors. Off turn 4, green flag, and off they go. Good start for Little. Good start for Velocity. Irizarry a little bit late out of the blocks. Will he have the raw pace to get there? Will Velocity have the raw pace to get there? Returns 3 and 4, still clean and green so far. The gap is 1.5 car lengths. White flag is up. 1 lap to go at Bristol. Velocity, how aggressive do you get? If you're the 84, Irizarry tried to make a pass. One last gas for Velocity here into 3. Does he drive it in deep and try to move him? He does. He does not quite get there, and Andrew Little holds on as he crashes at the line. It doesn't matter. Andrew Little wins at Bristol in a race that had everything. So Andrew Little wins at Bristol Motor Speedway. Will give him the opportunity here to burn it down on the front stretch as the winner, as he wins a chaotic race, to say the least, from Bristol. Kind of curious here. He's going to make the trip down here towards turn 3. I'm kind of curious if he's going to try to make the drive into victory lane. Of course, you can get there now on this newly scanned Bristol. So let's see if he tries to make the left turn here at the Food City sign and head down towards the ramp. I think you might have to go in from the other side. I think he's figured that out. We'll crank that car left, and we'll give him an opportunity because this is interesting. I don't think I've ever gotten to show this on a broadcast of guys getting to climb the ramp and go into victory lane. So let's give him his due time to get down here, make this turn, and, well, here we go. We'll burn out on pit road, and we'll give him an opportunity here to come down, try to make this turn into the garage area. Drive down here towards the ramp in turns 3 and 4. As he'll try to maneuver his way up this ramp. And into Bristol Motor Speedway victory lane. So the celebration starting to wrap up for Andrew Little. Let's now move into the finishing results. We'll get to talk to your top 3 here tonight in just a moment as well. Let's quickly run through the finishing results. Andrew Little wins at Bristol Motor Speedway in the 12th race of the season. John Velocity comes home in the 2nd spot. GT Irizarry finishes in the 3rd position tonight. James Catrone finishes in 4th with Travis Everett back in the 5th spot. Ryan Patty led a lot of laps tonight, and a caution at the wrong time, unfortunately, kept him out of victory lane for the 4th time this season. Stephen Luttrell goes 7th tonight, Rusty Modesty in 8th, Harold Watkins 9th, Cody Eldred in 10th. Matt Ayton finishes 11th, Harold Rothery in 12th, Brandon Beauchamp in 13th. Jimmy Fitzmaurice in 14th, Stephen Rasick in 15th, and Greg Bourbonier in 16th position. So the top 3 are once again staged and ready for me again, while the top 2 are, we continue to wait on GT Irizarry. So while we wait on GT, we'll make sure that everything is going good with the audio. That way you can hear what the drivers have to say tonight from the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll start first. The man who finished in 2nd, the defending champ, looked like he was on his way to a victory. It turned sour in the final few moments. A couple of cautions don't go his way. And unfortunately, he still comes home with a 2nd place finish. I know, though, that he wanted to get to victory lane, wanted to get a victory before he goes and defends his championship here as he continues defending his championship, in Season 2 of 2025. We'll talk to him first. It's the 2nd place finisher. It's John Velocity. John, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, a good run for you tonight in a race that I personally have never seen this happen before. You get the best possible caution timing I think that we've seen for anybody in a long time. It looked like you were cruising to a win. The cautions don't fall your way at the end. I know how badly you wanted to go to victory lane. You still finished 2nd. That's got to feel pretty good for you here as you come to Bristol and have a good run here tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. Whenever I'm in the lead late, there's always a caution that makes it a lot harder on me. I was on a different pit strategy, and that's what ended up leading to me staying out another 20 laps. I was about 5 laps or so from pitting, and then the caution fell. I was like, oh, well, this just got interesting. And didn't go my way tonight, but we had the speed, and it was a heck of a race to the end, and I'll take a P2. I can't be upset with how that one ended.
Well, looking forward now. 2 more races in the regular season coming up in the next couple weeks. New Hampshire next week, Kansas the week after that. What's the game plan for you to do one spot better and put the 84 in victory lane before we get to the playoffs?
Got to go out there, got to score some points, hopefully get some stage points. New Hampshire is kind of 50-50 for me. Sometimes I'm good and I got pace. Sometimes I struggle. But Kansas, I'm one of my better tracks, so with the last 2 races, I like the way it's shaping out, and I think as long as we keep it safe and keep it out of the wall, we should be able to put ourselves in good position for making the playoffs.
Tonight, that's a good way to start with a 2nd place finish for you here tonight in Bristol. So before we let you go and enjoy that one just a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
I want to shout out you in the booth there. You know, it's been a long season, and I appreciate everything you do broadcasting these races. I know me personally, I go back almost every single time and watch them again, so I appreciate you giving me the spot to do that, and appreciate all the hard work you do over there.
I appreciate you for talking to me over here for just a moment. Congrats on the 2nd place finish tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week in Loudon.
We'll see you there. Thank you.
John Velocity, 2nd place finisher tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll go backwards here. We've had GT Irizarry join a little bit later. We had a couple of guys staged, so we'll go backwards, go out of order. We'll go to the 3rd place finisher. Got a break on a caution to gain a couple spots at the end and get on to the podium. Had good speed tonight all night and managed to come out generally unscathed. And that'll mess with the caution on the pit cycle. He'll leave tonight likely out of a tie for 5th in the point standings. He'll likely leave actually as the man at least 4th in the standings coming out of tonight. So he'll either be 4th or 3rd depending on where Christian Strader falls, leaving Bristol Motor Speedway. So For GT Irizarry, that's about as good as it gets. We'll have to put Andrew Little back. I don't know if I did that or if somebody else did that, but we'll get to Andrew in just a minute in victory lane. But we'll first go to GT Irizarry in the third position and talk to him about his night here tonight at Bristol. GT, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Well, not too bad. Look, good raw speed for you all night. Felt like you were going to be a threat to finish up into the podium and maybe be around for the win if something crazy happened at the end, and something crazy did happen. It just unfortunately caught you a lap down. You managed to catch a break, get back on the lead lap, had a look for it at the end, but came away with a third-place finish. Take me through a wild one here at Bristol tonight.
It was wild for sure. I mean, it was fun, though. I was talking to Travis, and I said, that I actually enjoyed it. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of this track, and a lot of people were complaining about this update that happened. It just takes some getting used to, but one thing that they did with the update, something happened and it improved my VR headset. So it was crystal clear and not doing stuff, so I really enjoyed it. But the racing was really good. The cars weren't stupid loose. And they weren't stupid tight. I like how the tires made a difference and stuff like that. It's just that race came out to whatever card you drew, and that's the end of it. I mean, we needed more laps. If we would have had probably another, 5 laps, 10, say at the most, I think we would have got them. I mean, either John or I would. We were both on the same tires, and Andrew was on old tires.
Well, nonetheless, it is a good week for you, and actually we do now know you're going to leave here third in the point standings, headed to the final 2 races of the regular season. Obviously, playoff seeding is a big deal. Kind of take me through your game plan, not only to keep your momentum up, but to kind of maximize your position here as we get closer to postseason racing.
Well, I was frustrated last week because I started doing that big update at 7:30, and I didn't make the race. It finished at about 8:40. I think I missed about 10 minutes, so that's why I missed last week. I mean, and I like Gateway. It's a very fun track for me, so I knew I had to come out here and do some showing and get some stage points and stuff like that, and we did that and finished good. It's just really you just got to take each week to what it is, man. I think we're looking okay. I think Travis is looking all right too. So that's the goal right now, is try to get us both in there, and then we'll worry about fighting it out from there.
Tonight, third place finish for you in Bristol, though. It's a good way to rebound, obviously, from missing last week's race in Gateway. And you leave tonight third in the point standing. So before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
I appreciate Rusty for pushing Travis up into the wall there. that kind of worked out in our favor right there. But I appreciate you being up in the booth and the guys putting on the league and stuff like that. And these guys out here, they're mostly clean drivers and they're fun to race around. So I do appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you for talking to me here for a moment. Congrats on the third place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you next week in New Hampshire.
Tenfo.
GT Irizarry, third place finisher tonight in Bristol. We had him in here a bit preemptively a moment ago, whether by my doing or someone else's. I'm not sure exactly what the case was there. But now we'll get to talk to him. So, man, anxiously awaiting this one. Winner at Martinsville last season. Was kind of awaiting the breakthrough moment, had speed at certain tracks this season, had moments where it looked like he might contend, and it finally comes all together for him at Bristol. He got a couple things to go his way. Sometimes that's just exactly what the doctor ordered for a driver, is just to have a night where things go your way, you manage to have, be in the right spot at the right time, and sometimes it pays off, and it paid off in a big way tonight for Andrew Little. He'll leave second in the points tonight, trailing only Harold Watkins as we head to New Hampshire and Kansas to end the regular season. It's the man in Challenger Cup Series victory lane in Bristol. It's Andrew Little. Andrew, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear, bud.
Well, look, a crazy one tonight, obviously, at Bristol, where it looked like everything was going to go according to plan until it wasn't. A pit cycle happens. Some guys get the benefit of a caution in the middle of a pit cycle. Initially, you were not one of them. A couple of cautions, though, break your way. You manage to get on the lead lap, and then you catch the break at the end, get to go and run after a couple of guys on the green-white checkered, and you get the victory at Bristol. I know this has been a long time coming. Obviously, won at Martinsville last season to lock into the playoffs. It comes a little bit later here in the second season in 2025, but I got to imagine it feels just as good, not only to leave here with a victory, but also to know you're leaving second in the point standings.
Oh, it feels really good. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I usually dread a short track, but I've got 2 short track wins this year. So I think I should really, you know, change my tune on that. But overall, I couldn't believe it. Like, when it cycled through and, you know, those guys pit to take their last set of tires, and, you know, some of them had to work their way from the back or work through it. I mean, I had already done that, and I just basically had to hold on. And part of me thinks that the caution at the end, the green white checker, might have been a blessing, because that was the launch that I needed to, you know, to keep John off of there. And then, you know, I just put my foot in it coming out of 4, and so did he, and neither one of us lifted. And, you know, luckily, it doesn't matter. We did it in style, baby. That was it. We did it in style, but I still got the win.
In typical Bristol fashion, I would say they're off turn 4. Well, you know, I mentioned it a second ago. You now leave second in the point standings. The playoffs 3 weeks away. 33 points off the points lead. You know, what are you going to do differently? Obviously, chasing Harold Watkins. He's come on strong here in the second half of the season. What are you going to do to get off cycle from him, to try to get a one-up, to try to maybe get the points lead and be the number 1 overall seed going to the playoffs?
Going to be kind of a tall order, but I mean, New Hampshire, I guess you could maybe say, kind of races like a bit of a mid-short track, maybe a bit Martinsville-ish. So maybe I got a shot there. So maybe I get out there and get another win, get some more points. Like, hopefully that'll do all right. And then we'll just have to see what happens at Kansas. You know, Kansas is going to be a wide open affair, clean air, and, you know, just take care of your stuff and try to stay out front. But that doesn't usually work out well for me, but I'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens.
Well, tonight, though, you get to soak up victory lane here at Bristol, so you make the trip up the ramp to the victory lane there in turn 3 and 4 as well. So,
heck yeah, bud.
while you have an opportunity sitting in Challenger Cup Series victory lane, again for the second time this year, but the first time this season, I do want to give you an opportunity. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Well, you're doing, once again, an awesome broadcast job. And then J-Dub and Race Control. We had a couple technical difficulties here tonight with this latest update, but I think we did okay. I think a couple of guys might have gotten maybe a lap penalty or something there. We don't really know how it folded out or how it worked out because of the cycle. It just kind of worked out weird. But, you know, hi to my family upstairs, and thanks to Waterford Concepts and Admin Box, one of our new 3D printing customers. They got a new admin box that's out there that's a really cool update to the design, and so check them out. And, you know, thanks to everybody else, you know, the other admins and guys in the Challenger Series.
Well, appreciate you for talking to me here for a second. Congratulations on the victory, your first of the season. Enjoy it a little bit. Go celebrate. We will see you next week in Loudon.
All right, bud. Thanks. Adios.
Andrew Little, the winner tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, that will start to wrap our coverage here tonight from Bristol. It was one that looked like it was going to be pretty straightforward, honestly. The usual Bristol chaos, until it wasn't. In the pit cycle with 70 to go, where a caution comes out, it flips the entire field on its head. Guys are trapped a lap down, having to take the lucky dog, having to race back through the field, get a couple other cautions. It literally could not have been more chaotic than it was tonight for some of the guys in the field. In the end, Andrew Little leaves through the smoke with the victory at Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll take you through the schedule for PGR this week. I'll take you through my personal schedule this week and when I'm going to be on the microphone coming up here throughout this week. And then we'll go on from here. We'll start with PGR specifically. Moving on tonight from here. On Thursday night, the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series returns for another race on a Thursday night. Had some good racing the past few Thursdays. And this week, the race has still not yet been announced. So stay tuned for that. There will be racing at about 10:15 Eastern on PGR eSports. We just don't know it yet what the car track combo will be for that race, but it should be a lot of fun over there with Mike and Austin and the boys. On Friday night, it will be Midnight Racing League with Landon Veliky and Trevor Osborne, I believe, on the call. It should still be going on Friday night here on PGR eSports. And then, of course, next week on Monday, the PGR VRX Light Series returns for another race. I'm going to check the car track combo on that right now as we are in Season 3. It'll be Week 3 of Season 3. It'll be the NASCAR Cup Series Gen 7 race cars from the Daytona International Speedway. That's coming up next Monday night, September the 22nd. And then, of course, we are back next week. Challenger Cup Series heads to New Hampshire Motor Speedway a week from tonight at 8:30 p.m. here on PGR eSports for the penultimate race of the regular season here in Season 2 of 2025. That's the PGR schedule for the next week. My personal schedule, a couple of engagements coming up this week for me. Tomorrow night, over on the Precision Production Network, I'll be joining my friend Justin Prince, as well as our producer DJ Lyon, for another production of the Moonshiners Racing League OB Builders Cup Series playoffs as they make the trip to the Last Great Colosseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, for a cutoff race in the playoffs in the round of 16. 4 drivers will be eliminated tomorrow night from the playoffs. Come check it out, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Precision Production Network. Cannot wait to be back in the booth with JP as we continue to work through the playoffs for the Moonshiners Racing League and the OB Builders Cup Series Friday night. As of right now, I believe I'll be back on the call for the Mystic Racing League Octane Outlaws Cup Series coverage on Friday night. I don't have the track handy right now, but I'll be back for that one as well, about 8 p.m. on the East Coast is when that one will go live. Can't wait to be back for the call for that one as well. It's also going to be on the Precision Production Network. That's the PGR schedule for the next week. That's my schedule for the next week. Of course, we'll be back for more Challenger Cup Series action next Tuesday night as we head to New Hampshire, the penultimate race of the regular season. Tonight at Bristol, it's Andrew Little that leaves with the victory in a chaotic one from the Last Great Colosseum. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's race. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for your participation in the chat, as well as sticking around for all 228 laps of action tonight from Bristol. My name is Dawson Wise. You've been